This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
In not one of the miracles that Jesus did on earth was I hope you catch this. Not one of the miracles that Jesus performed on earth was the person that was healed or delivered or whatever necessarily deserving of the crisis they were going through. Now, sometimes they may have caused it. I don't know. Certainly in your life, in my life, there are things that we do that cause the crisis that we're in. But we're not necessarily deserving of the crisis. You know, you're not deserving of cancer. You're not deserving of losing your job or losing your family. Or, you know, you're not deserving of those bad things that might happen to you. But no matter the crisis that you're in, no matter the failure that you've suffered, no matter the pain that you endure, no matter the struggle that you face, God says, I am about bringing a new life in you. Now listen, in you and through you. Now what do I mean by that? Well, grace is bringing a new life into you, and righteousness is bringing a new life through you. God says, I want to do something in you. I'm going to pour my grace into you, the divine influence on the heart and its reflection in the life. And then the works of righteousness are going to come from you, through you, in other words. So God says, the new life that I want to develop in your life, in you, is something that I'm going to do in you and through you. So if you've just been sitting around wondering, why is my life just so stale? Why does it seem I'm just spinning my wheels? Why does it seem like I'm not really going anywhere? Well, maybe you've missed the second part. When God says, I'm going to give you a new life, it isn't just that He imputes grace into your life, where He does the divine influence in your life, but there's that second part, that He wants to accomplish something through you. God says, I'm going to do a work in you and through you. In you and through you. And the work isn't complete unless He's actually done something through you. The work isn't complete if He's just done something in you. What God is up to isn't complete if it's just that He's done something in you. The completion of it is that He's done something in you and through you. That's the new life that God wants to develop. That's why in all of those, every one of those verses that we were talking about where we gave that example, do you notice that there was always a response? The people responded, they were amazed, they praised, they glorified God. God did something in that person's life, but He did something through their life. You are this bridge, this channel that God wants to use to accomplish something in the world that He's put you in. And if God isn't accomplishing something through your life, the work's not done. It's not finished. You've got some unfinished business in your life. You've been the beneficiary of His grace, but now there are others that need to be the beneficiary of His righteousness through you. So you need to know that in spite of the trials and the tribulation in your life, God is not finished with you yet. He's still up to something in and through your life. Don't let it stop with just something that He's done in your life. Recognize that it's completed when He's done what He wants to do through your life. The hidden message of the triumphal entry into Jerusalem is that God will do whatever He has to do to give you new life. He did what He had to do on the cross to pay for your sin. But that was just the beginning. God says, I created you, the individual that you are, the unique individual that you are, because I have a purpose and a plan for your life. I put that one unique individual in this earth at this particular point in history because I have a purpose and a plan. Never has been anybody like you before, never will be anybody like you again. You are one of a kind, and your destiny is now. And God has a plan that involves His grace, what He wants to do in your life, and His righteousness, what He wants to do through your life. And new life involves both of those things. So yes, it begins with salvation, but it continues on. And God is still seeking to develop a life in you and through you today. That is what He is up to. The triumphal entry was not for Jesus to become the king of Israel. The purpose of the triumphal entry was to defeat sin, not to defeat Rome, not to defeat political treachery, not to defeat failure of the political system. The purpose of the triumphal entry was to defeat sin, to defeat your failure, to defeat your loss, to defeat your crisis. Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey to give you new life. That was what the triumphal entry was all about. It was all about you. Jesus said, I'm going into Jerusalem to make a way so that you can have not only the fullness of grace in your life, but the fullness of righteousness through your life. Don't let it stop with just grace in your life. Discover what it is that God wants to do through your life. And you know what? He gave you today because He has something He wants to do through your life today. And if He gives you tomorrow, it's because He has something He wants to do through your life tomorrow. And you ain't even seen nothing until we get to Tuesday. Listen, God's up to something. He's been up to something. The truth of the matter is that most of us have just been kind of sitting around twiddling our thumbs going, boy, I know God's up to something. I hope God's up to something. I think God's up to something. Something seems to be happening. I'm trusting that God's up to something. And we don't realize that, yeah, it's you. God's up to something, and it's you. He wants to accomplish something through you. He is up to something. And you're the tool in His toolbox that He wants to use right now.
On behalf of Dan Hurst and the Open Class, we want to thank you for watching. We hope it was a blessing.